Hi, I'm Keith Duncan, and I research keeping score under the age of 12. So, the first concept that I saw was that there's an obvious reward to hard work. Whether it be a personal satisfaction or a tangible object, working hard is shown to benefit whoever is doing the task in some sort of way. One example of this is to give out trophies or like certificates of some sort. Yes, these can get old, and it may feel like every kid has them. So, another example that we could do is to like write a checklist of goals that you or the child may have, and like after every time they complete them, you check it off. So what this does is like even if they like lose a game, you could put up a task like score a goal or work on dribbling skills, and that can feel like uh, they're accomplishing something even if they do lose the game. Kids also have to understand that they won't always get what they want, but they can learn by going with the approach that if you work harder, you may get the desired outcome. I think that part of this is how the parents have raised their child so far, and how the parents coach their children on how to respond to adversity. Parents are major influences in a child's life, especially at this age. So if the parents preach like with hard work come rewards, the child will believe it and therefore work much harder. So there's a clear difference between the different types of rewards, which are extrinsic and intrinsic. So the goal of the parent and coach is to see like which type motivates a child more and apply that. My stance is on the issue. So like obviously everything in life is competitive, from sports to business, and even how you carry yourself. An example would be like you might question yourself like how disciplined can you be with your diet, exercise plan, or even can you keep up with it. So this can relate to like keeping score in sports like will give the kids an extra advantage in the business field, um, or the competitive career in whatever professional field they want to look for in the future. Also, learning how to work with a team is a valuable life lesson that should be learned early on in life. No matter what you do in the future, it's going to involve communication with people. Whether it's like being a manager on a baseball team, or a professor at a university, or even a husband, everything involves communication. I believe that sports can especially teach you how to listen, talk, and problem solve with a group of people that you want to accomplish a certain goal with. Uh, Obviously, competition and communication is happening in the league that doesn't keep score, but at a lower level. To me, the kids don't feel like they're playing for something specific. They're just out there to exercise and have fun, which isn't a problem. That may be their decision, or maybe like just sports isn't as big to them. They want to focus on school or maybe music or something like that, which is awesome. Um, but this is like why some critics, sorry, this is like why some critics think like the scoring league is like makes the children like sensitive because they're not able to suffer losses at this age. Um, they don't want their kids to be so used to losing that they figure that they're going to lose at everything they do. Another argument is that children should be focused on having fun and learning technique. Critics say that they could lose sight of this as they're playing in a league with a clear winner and loser. Personally, I can see the benefit to both sides of the argument. Obviously, like we want what's best for our kids, and I believe that putting him or her in a league that kept score would benefit the most. So they're the pictures of kids celebrating and having fun. So some evidence and research that I did. Professor Ann Josephson from she like works with Huffington Post now said that competition drives us to learn at a faster rate and perform at a higher level. Also, Janice Meredith, she's an author of a book called Kids in Sports, said that competition is a rich soil for character growth. These are not statistical quotes, but they both of these people have witnessed how kids respond to certain situations, and how competition can change a kid's life. Some cons. There was a research done by a professor from Boise State named Linda Pytlikoff. She did a study with over 10,000 kids in 11 different cities and found that these things listed under con. The main thing that pointed out to me was that fun is the key reason for involvement, and lack of fun is one primary reason for discontinuing the sport. This study was done to show why children in elementary and middle school quit sports, and she also asked their feelings about winning, which I'll get to later. How does this relate to the textbook? So the book starts out by labeling the different types of motivation, which are extrinsic and intrinsic. So you guys know what those are, but I'll just label them real quick. So intrinsic motivation, it's like something that drives you like internally, something that you want to, I guess, get better at because you enjoy it or you find it interesting. And extrinsic motivation is you do it for like the personal, like it makes yourself look better. You get trophies. People see you as like being macho and stuff like that. So like early on, kids are intrinsically motivated, but that can soon shift in high school and middle school when like college starts to come. The media is impacted in their lives. Their ego gets bigger, and maybe they want to attract someone that they like. So that those are all reasons. Also, that in the book they show that some surveys suggested that the kids' main reason to play a sport is to have fun, and winning was like very low on the list of why they played sports. Less than 5% in a youth hockey league thought that winning was the most important thing, and they'd also prefer to play and be on a losing team rather than win and be a bench warmer. Um, Research also shows that competition often dampens children's eagerness to learn and play sports, and an emphasis on cooperation and teamwork is a better motivator. So, what other research should be done? One type of research that I'd be very interested in that I haven't found yet is to create or find like two different leagues in whatever sport you're interested in. Everything in both leagues like would be the same, like the size, amount of funding, practice time, and economic background. But the only difference would obviously be that one league is incorporating scoring and the other wouldn't. What we tried to find is how kids respond to winning and losing in each of the leagues. We could do this by interviewing them, having a questionnaire, like a yes or no questions, or maybe interviewing coaches or parents and see how the kid responds to whichever way that they're doing. While doing this, we can see how the children value competition. Like I said, we can interview children and see how much they're like into it. So we can see like how each kid is different in what their motivation is. Like maybe some children have an older sibling that they want to be like. Some kids may take the sport more seriously because they know it's like their only way to college if they live in a low income area, or some may do it because their parents are pushing them too hard. So yeah, all of these factors go into how a kid is motivated. Some important trends to be shown. So Noel Dick, an author of a news article, said that the non-tracking of scores at the U12 level, in particular, has also triggered criticism anchored in sports practices and beliefs that extend far beyond soccer. So obviously there are different opinions from each side. So one way we can find a common ground is maybe at the end of a sports tournament, we can give the losers acknowledgement, and the winners will get a trophy, like a tangible object. So this will give like the quote unquote losers something to work for, but also not make them feel terrible. Um, Also nowadays, like parents are super involved in their kids' sports, which is awesome. But if they get too involved, it can be dangerous, like we've seen in the book that we read, the sports book. So, like I said, here's some parents just screaming at some people, not having a good time. So, how can this personally help me grow and develop? As I'm looking to be a coach for like one of my career options, researching this topic and learning more about it has and will prepare me for being a coach at any level, especially youth sports. So, if I'm already familiar with like kids' psychological needs and how they think, it'll give me an advantage and an opportunity to impact more children. It'll also help me communicate with their parents and how to coach their kids on what to do. As well as a coach, this will also help me be a better parent in the future, and this is huge to me. So like now I know like how much pressure parents can put on their children. It has made me rethink how I would eventually raise my kids. Like obviously I want them to, obviously I want to teach them proper sportsmanship and the value of hard work, and also how to handle wins and losses, but like at what cost. So practical application. So this will like benefit kids' psychological problems by teaching them fulfillment of winning, um, the scoring league, and it could also help them become harder workers. But the results impact millions of kids, and it's a huge debate that many people have stake in. So like the research that I would do would involve basically millions of people, kids, parents, lawmakers. A lot of people would be involved in this. Um, but we have to remember that every kid is different. So parents, coaches, and anyone involved with the child should be aware how the child operates and what motivates them. So thank you guys for listening, and here's some of the sources.